You're listening to Scan Stories, a bite-sized audio journey from GS1 Healthcare, where we bring you stories from those implementing GS1 standards around the world. I'm Mia, and this is Scan Stories. If you're here, you've probably just listened to episode 5 of Scan Stories, From Waste to Wonder, Reducing Anesthetic Gas Emissions with SageTech Medical. If not, feel free to check it out in your episode feed first. It's a great listen. We're very excited to continue the conversation with Dr. Steve Wileman, Head of Research at SageTech Medical, who played a key role in making this innovation a reality. In this bonus episode, we'll take a closer look at the innovation we just learned about in episode 5, the challenges faced along the way, and what the future holds for sustainability in healthcare. Let's get started. Dr. Wileman, thank you very much for joining us today. Before we dive in, could you briefly introduce yourself and share your role in bringing this project to life?
Thank you. My name is Steve Wileman. I'm Head of Research at SageTech Medical. I've been with the company since inception, back in 2016. My role now incorporates research within the company, but also operations, engineering, regulatory aspects. So any technically related elements of the business tend to come across my desk.
Thank you. I wanted to start by asking, what made SageTech take on the challenge of anesthetic gas emissions? Was there a particular inspiration or insight that sparked the idea for the seed can?
The inspiration for SageTech came from an anaesthetist who was really disturbed by the high carbon footprint of delivering volatile anesthesia in the human medical setting. And he set up the business. He was a founder and he sowed the seed. And then we went on to develop the technology that we now have. The idea for the SidCam particularly was because we wanted something to be reusable. We didn't want a disposable canister. So we worked with a manufacturing company locally to SageTech's facilities, and we won a sustainability award for the design and manufacture of the SidCan.
Could you explain what makes these anesthetic gases so harmful to the environment and why tackling this problem is such a priority?
The carbon footprint of delivering volatile anesthesia makes a significant contribution to the overall carbon footprint of delivering modern healthcare. There is an opportunity to do this right now. We have the technology, so therefore it should be a priority.
I guess I wouldn't be wrong in saying that developing and implementing a solution like this wasn't easy. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced along the way, and how did you overcome them?
Quite correct. There were a number of key challenges along the way. I think one of the most significant has been overcoming the regulatory hurdles associated with our technology, because as a result of the way the technology has developed, we work in a highly regulated set where we cross 3 different highly regulated sectors. So I think that has been a big challenge over and above the technical challenge of making the device and the processing effective and sustainable. I think the biggest sort of maybe unforeseen challenge or underappreciated challenge was the regulatory burden.
Right. This is a GS1 Healthcare podcast, and I know that GS1 UK played a critical role in this project. Can you maybe explain how GS1 standards helped support the traceability and scalability of this solution?
Sure. So the GS1 standards really enabled us to meet our traceability obligations to be compliant with regulations for both the transport and storage of waste, to enable us to feed back to our customers and to provide data for regulatory submissions for marketing authorizations for new pharmaceuticals. We have multiple pathways and requirements to ensure that traceability is reliable and maintained, and the GS1 standards enable us to do that.
And I must say that the results you've achieved are very impressive. Can you maybe share with us some specific feedback or reactions you've received from hospitals or healthcare professionals using the Seed Can?
Sure. One of the common feedback points that are made to us is that the device, it just sits in the corner of the room and does its thing. It doesn't, it's not complex. It's easy to operate, easy to understand, there's people are very excited to be able to do something in their department about the poor sustainability record of delivering anaesthetics.
And I was also wondering, Steve, how has the adoption of this solution by NHS hospitals in the UK influenced other healthcare systems or industries to consider similar approaches?
So one of the new industries and applications of the technology is in the veterinary sector, where they use very similar anaesthetics to the human market, and their use actually represents a higher proportion of their total carbon footprint. So it's even more important for them to do something about it, and that has been very widely and appreciatively received by that sector.
Great. Now looking ahead, what's next for SageTech? Are there new innovations or expansions on the horizon to further reduce emissions or improve sustainability in healthcare?
I would say we do have some pipeline ideas I would rather keep under wraps for the moment. But in terms of improving the sustainability of our offering, that's a continuous process for us, because there are new technologies, there's new ways to innovate, there's new ways to ensure that you maintain that level of I guess what I'm trying to say is we want to stay at the forefront of the technology. It is important for us to continue to innovate, to continue to make sure that our processes are as sustainable as possible.
Our listeners come from all kinds of backgrounds, not just healthcare, tech or standards. So for those tuning in, what's the one key takeaway you'd like them to remember about this project and its impact?
I think the concept of taking a used pharmaceutical, capturing it and putting it back in a bottle so that it can be used again is really a paradigm shift in the concept of recycling. So this is a drug that has been used before and we're able to use it again. And I think that's a very powerful story. And I think it demonstrates the potential for recovery and recycling of things that people might not consider previously. But if something is not destroyed by using it, then there's a potential that it could be reused for the same purpose, which is the highest level of sustainability that you can achieve.
We're almost at the end of this episode, but before we go, what message would you like to share with others in healthcare or tech who might be inspired by SageTech's work?
I think if you see a problem within your environment, whether that's in the healthcare sector or not, talk to people about it. Talk to an innovator, because it is at that grassroots level where challenges are identified. They're not dreamt up in boardrooms. The challenges that people face for everyday operations of their business are identified and observed at ground level. And I think it's important for everyone to think, hold on, is there a better way of doing this? So go out there, think what they might be, and talk to people and see what could come.
Dr. Steve Wileman, thank you so much for being here on Scan Stories. This has been a really inspiring conversation.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this chat, don't forget to check out the full story this bonus episode is based on, From Waste to Wonder, Reducing Anaesthetic Gas Emissions with SageTech Medical. That's episode 5 in your Scan Stories feed, so be sure to give it a listen and share it with your network. You can also leave us a comment and rate this podcast on your favourite platform. It really helps us grow and bring you more content you want to hear. Until next time, let's keep scanning for solutions that make a difference.